Welcome to episode 324 of Game Deflators Podcast. My name's John, and I'm joined by Ryan.
Hey, everybody, here at the Game Deflators Podcast, we like to talk about games we've recently picked up, games we're currently playing, and we have the command down, but it's really the conquering that's the tricky part in this week's Inflation Deflation Challenge.
So we're playing some Command & Conquer Red Alert Retaliation on the PlayStation 1 this week. Yeah, it's very, very long title there.
I feel retaliated upon.
So we'll get into that in our inflation deflation segment. Dude, so before we ask you what we're going to be talking about, I always, like now, because we're so many episodes in, I had the question, is it episode 234 or 324? Like I'm starting to reverse numbers in the process here.
The dyslexia is kicking in.
Yeah, it really is. And it did, well, I think it's because like the 3-2 portion, like I'm just not, I don't know, it's just not sticking yet that we're at 300 plus episodes on this podcast.
Yeah.
So pretty crazy. But what are we going to talk about today?
So this week, we had a full-on Pokemon battle at Costco, and then hallelujah, the Switch 2. At last, we could finally wrap it up this week, and then we will finish everything off with that inflation deflation on Command & Conquer Red Alert Retaliation. It is a long title.
Yeah, it is. All right. Well, of course, you can find us on the GameDeflators.com. You can also find us on social media at Game Deflators, on X at The Game Deflators, on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and Blue Sky. We are also on your favorite podcast application. So thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, and comment. And we are also on YouTube. Hit the little bell so you know when we're on. Watch our videos. And again, subscribe and comment. That's the fastest I've ever done it.
I heard somebody saying that they're going to be putting their video on Spotify. We should see if we could get video on Spotify.
Technically, we have video, I think, on YouTube Music.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
isn't that just, if you're putting video on YouTube Music, isn't it just YouTube?
Yes and no. I don't know. Like we have YouTube Music because my wife pays for it, and so I, like, whenever my kid wants a playlist, for example, of some random kids show, if I were to search up like the music thing, it gives me a playlist, but if I find like the video, it has like 1 hour straight video, so there's no need to like rebuffer if I get into a dead zone, stuff like that. I don't know, it's really interesting. But yeah, there is video on YouTube Music. You can find music videos on there.
Interesting.
Such. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. All right, well, let's look at pickups. So I don't have my video game pickup noted like or in person because it's still technically being delivered. It'll be here Tuesday. It got delayed in the mail, but I did get Live Alive, whatever you want to call it, on the Switch. That one, yeah.
Do you have the original?
No, I don't. I think that's on Super Famicom, if I remember. So I don't know. Maybe I might actually have it. I do have a bunch of Super Famicom games that I picked up in the Great Gaming Pickup of 2020. So go listen to that episode. I don't know when it was, but that's the title.
A long time ago now.
Yeah, almost 5 years. Oh, dude, almost 5 years ago. That's crazy. So yeah, I got that on the Switch. It was $25, I think, for a used copy on eBay, and it's been going for like, I don't know, 30 to 40 is what I've been seeing occasionally. So figured it was a pretty good deal. Might as well pick it up. That particular seller was the lowest price seller for an ESRB copy, so figured why not. All right, but the other pickup I have is the Ultimate Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I got a copy of that, soft cover, as you can see. Pretty excited about that. At some point, I will get back into reading. I can read, yes, but I will look into that. Dude, I got all these books and I never read them.
Well, I know, but I mean, at least, I mean, you look read. You do have a library behind you.
I technically do, and then I have a gaming library upstairs. So yeah,
people think I skateboard, but I really don't.
No, you just like decks.
I like to logboard a little bit, but yeah, I was never big on skateboarding.
Gotcha. Yeah, they are pretty cool though. They do fit the room nicely. Yeah, I kind of wish I had the whole podcast set up upstairs so I could have the background of the games.
Yeah, we've tried.
I will switch it so people can see. Let me go to my settings.
Show them.
It's only temporary. It's just for
I think it looks fine. He gets a little self-conscious because of his edges.
Well, look at this. Like, this is terrible, dude. Like, this is for YouTube only, I guess. But yeah, it's like all blurry and crap. So, bam. Put that back. Yeah. So that was a game collection if you're watching. All right, man. That was what I got in terms of pickups. What I'm playing right now is I'm still playing Plague Tale. So Plague Tale
Glitchy
Requiem,
still?
that is. What's that? No, actually, it's been a lot. Well, no, not real. Not. It's been glitchy in a couple occasions. So when I booted up the game a couple days ago, I had it's Amicia is the name. So I remembered now, and Hugo. And so we're in this island town that we got to, and I started up the game, and I just look at her, and she's starting to like slowly walk to the side. I'm like, I know it's not my damn joystick. Joystick's perfectly fine on all of her games. It's just that particular game, she's just walking on her own for some strange ass reason. So that was the only instance recently where that happened. I'm trying to think of anything else that happened in that area, but I don't believe anything did happen. But the story is progressing pretty nicely. I'm definitely enjoying it. I'm happy I'm playing it. Once you get past that crazy glitchiness that occurs in several scenes, the game itself is actually pretty good, and the story is pretty good as well. So definitely happy with it. And I'm debating if I want to start my new games resolution right after this, or if I want to dive into something else. So,
Yeah.
because that new games resolution, I'm going to be like, it's going to force me to set up streaming on the computer through OBS, whatever software, and then play it through Steam. I'm going to have to get used to like, is it a controller? Is it a mouse type of situation I'm going to use for this? I'm pretty sure it's going to be mouse and keyboard, but we'll see when it comes to that. So yeah, I'm not sure, but I have so many games that I want to play, including I want to try out at some point whenever you can come over. We'll do the unboxing for Wife Quest
Oh
that
yeah.
we got for Premium Edition games. So we haven't opened it up or done anything with that yet, but we will. So this is just added promotion, I guess, for them. But I do want to try this out because I've heard good things.
You
So
know, I was thinking about that the other day. This is the first year in like a long time that we haven't had Barry on for like new games resolutions and stuff at the
I don't
beginning
think
of the year.
I don't think we had him on last year for New Games
Was it last
resolutions.
year either?
I think last year we had Rue came on with us.
Okay. I remember
Yeah.
we were having Barry like for like a couple year streak there for a while.
I don't know about New Games resolutions. I think it was like shortly thereafter that we talked about it, and it just kind of we had the discussion with him. But I think
Also, we didn't do a gaming trends to end in 2024.
well, we can
We
always
usually
do.
do that,
We're still in January. We could always do that next week.
right?
Just saying, right?
Oh
Gaming trends to end. Punching your friends for Pokemon cards. So
right?
we'll get
Yes.
into that in a little
And
bit.
that madness.
Yeah, and all of that madness. But that's what I got for us this week. Pass it over to you for your pickup.
So this week I also got a book because I'm a person who occasionally reads at like a 6th grade level.
And
This
that is a
is
6th grade level book too.
yeah, this is Redwall. It is a very fun book series about little mice and other like rodents and foxes and
I am
creatures
pretty
that in kind
sure.
of like Robin Hood kind of setting.
I,
Um,
I'm pretty sure that I have a video game that is pretty much like Redwall.
there's a bunch of stuff that's kind of like Redwall. I mean, it's why I love the Bloomborough set so much from Magic is because of Redwall. So I don't know, I've been cleaning out my house and getting things kind of not packed yet, but starting to go through and inventory all our possessions. We're going to be looking to move at some point this year. So we're trying to get a handle on everything. You never can tell, especially with everything that's going on in the world these days. And with, moving being a risk itself, it seems adult. And while we have the time worth like going and trying to put an inventory together so that we're protected in case anything were to happen. So we're slowly going through, and I don't know what exactly. I think it was just something on a YouTube playlist I was watching, and it was actually. I was watching
Hmm.
actually, and they had a question about Redwall, and I was like, oh my god, Redwall! I haven't thought about that in forever. So you could still get a paperback copy at Barnes and Noble for like $10. So it was like, sweet,
The
went and
game
picked
is
that up.
Ghost of a Tale, by the way.
Ghost of a Tale.
You might actually like this one. It was a Peggy release, and I haven't finished it yet. It's one that I started and just had to drop. I want to say it was right around the time that my kid was born.
Or what
So,
about Moss? Is it
oh
Moss?
well, Moss is great. I like Moss.
Yeah.
That one's exclusively VR though. This one's a PS4 game. I'll link it in our private chat here.
Okay.
So that way you gotta wherever it comes up.
So
Uh,
yeah, I read some of that, and also this week I beat Gundam Breaker 3 for the Vita.
nice.
First game of the year down. It was pretty wild in that game. So I got to, I think most of my parts and my overall level, I think my parts were at like level 13 or something, and I think my overall level was at like maybe 18 or 16. I don't remember exactly. But you have all your different parts and you have kind of a general overall level. And I had been doing all that up to that point using like a double melee build. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to pivot. I'm going to start seeing if I can do like a ranged build instead. So I started like experimenting with like some different guns. I settled on this like beam rifle / bazooka. So it was like a beam rifle with an underloaded bazooka on it. And then I had like the heavy arms with like the micro missile shoulder pads, the heavy arms chest with like the in chest Vulcan like Gatling cannons. I had a bunch of extra missile option pods on the sides. I had this backpack eventually that had like could shoot this big laser cannon or do a missile barrage. So I had like all these missiles and additional attacks and stuff to just spam out. And I did a mission, like I came back to the game after putting it down, coming back to it the next day, and I was like, "Oh, you could toggle to do like the DLC missions." And I don't know why I didn't assume that the DLC missions would be like a higher caliber or whatever of mission, but I was like, "Oh, this is just like the first level of it, so I'll kick the difficulty up to hardcore and see if it's, very challenging." And it was very challenging. I got whooped a little bit, but eventually I wound up beating it, and then I got like a bunch of level 20 parts drop, which were like way higher than what I had. So I was able to like significantly kind of boost my strength up pretty quick. And then I just went back to the main campaign and just started playing it all on hardcore difficulty.
Mhm.
And I basically just like walked through the rest of the campaign, and I just walk into missions and just delete people with missiles. And like I had so much knockback on my gun that I was just like juggling them in the air, just shooting. They just kept bouncing until they like ran out of life or I ran out of ammo, whatever came first. And then I had my spear to like do a bunch of damage if I needed to. And the customization, there's so many different affixes that you can get on these parts to, make it so that you're either building your option gauge or building your EX moves, or giving strength to this type of weapon or that type of damage or whatever. But because it's like a poor like US translation of it in there, a lot of the descriptions don't make a lot of sense. So I kind of skipped over that. And after you beat the game, you can go back through and you can get like master grade parts, which are probably even better. So there's probably a lot of reason to keep playing this. I'll probably keep it installed, and maybe I'll go back and visit it, in the future if I want to, play some of that type of game. It's a game that I could always kind of go in, grind on, get a little bit better. It's kind of like, I don't know, has that kind of Monster Hunter sense in a way where like Monster Hunter is a kind of game like that too, where I feel you could, if you played it, you can kind of just jump back into it because it's doing the same thing again and again. And you just kind of fall back into that rhythm and do some more grinding as much as you want. Um, and then, so I stopped playing that, and then I picked up Final Fantasy X Remake on the Vita just to kind
Well,
of take a look at it.
remaster, right?
Remaster,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
remaster,
Yeah, we're gonna get some people hitting on this on that
right?
one.
But it's fun. I love Final Fantasy X. That's the one that like caught me,
Mhm.
and I haven't really gone back to play that one in a while. Like I know I still never finished 9, but the
Mm.
9 remake is probably going to launch with the Switch 2, rumors say, or we might see a 9 remake this year. So I might end up getting the 9 remake whenever it comes out and, play all the way through and wind up finishing it that way. And I'm probably not going to finish this playthrough of Final Fantasy X. Like, I'll probably just kind of piddle around with it. Who knows when I'll get into Metal Gear Solid, but like you said, it's only like 5 or 6 hours, so it's not like it's going to
Yeah.
take me that long. So, I mean,
Well,
I might as well wait till Thanksgiving.
I mean, I'm just gonna say shades of Pikmin, you know, coming across there. I think Down to the Wire on an 8-hour Pikmin game. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did
You
that.
know, I think my favorite year for your new games resolution was when you did all of the ZOE games.
Mm-hmm.
You did like the GBA version 1 and 2, I believe.
I think I just played the GBA one, and then it inspired me to do 1 and 2
Mm-mm.
for the
No,
next year's.
no, you beat it.
I did all 3 of them for that.
I'm pretty sure you did all
That
3.
doesn't
Yeah.
sound like me.
It doesn't, but that's why it's
I
my
do
favorite.
remember like frantically trying to finish ZOE 2 though.
I mean,
And it took me like 3 tries for the final boss, I think, or something.
frantically trying to finish is actually a normal occurrence on your new games resolution.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just in time to keep it fresh, so that way you can jump into the next one. It's great because it's content all year long for both of us.
It is. It is.
Nice.
Well, speaking of content,
Oh yeah, absolutely. So let's discuss a few things. This week there's chaos over Pokemon cards at Costco, so you got to catch these hands. This was from TMZ. So yeah, basically they just released the 151 Blooming Waters premium set, and it's normally 120, 150 bucks online. Costco's selling it for 60. And there's a video of people just like throwing fists and elbows to get Pokemon cards, and it's kind of made me hate people more. And then also just this whole idea of, I think maybe this is a reason companies just rely on online platforms to do, pre-orders and main purchases and such, and just risk the bots and all the nastiness that's come from that. Cause I mean, it's either that or getting punched in the face because you're trying to get a Lugia.
I
I'm
mean,
assuming that's what's in there. I don't follow too much Pokemon.
do you remember being a kid and having to fight adults for your hobbies? Because I definitely don't.
I
And
don't
in the
either.
modern era, like children don't stand a chance. A, they don't have jobs. So their parents have to be the ones that are motivated to get all this for them on their behalf and be there at like 7 a.m. against people who actually either want it for themselves or are just like,
It's just resellers, dude.
snaky resellers. Like these people that don't give a shit and just want to like ruin everybody's day for some money. Like, I hate it so much. The
Well,
world sucks.
So the cool thing about this particular Costco is the manager noted what happened. They didn't get police involved or anything like that. But my understanding is the manager was like, well, screw all of you resellers who have stacks of like 6 of these boxes in hand to resell, limited to 2 per person. So they go in, of course, and they got to scan their Costco card to buy it. So that's one thing. So if you purchase those 2 things and you try to go back in, they're like, nah, you already met your limit for today.
Yeah.
So yeah, and of course, after you go through your checkout line, it's not like there's gonna be any more left to begin with. But yeah, I think it's pretty chaotic when you go to Target and are not selling cards anymore, or they have limitations on card purchases because people are going crazy and fighting over it, and uh, just chasing different chase cards that are several $100s. So I'm seeing lots of memes nowadays of videos of people saying, "Oh yeah, I ripped open $500 worth of cards so I could find one $200 card."
Yeah.
Versus just buying it.
I got some Pokemon cards during like not like the big spike during pandemic, but a little bit after that. And I got like 3 fat packs that I'm going to get rid of because I don't really care too much. The best thing I got out of there is my bookmark Cubones that I've been using
Oh, nice.
for reading. So I'm probably just going to dump all those cards because I really, the thing is like, you're like, oh, I'm going to get like Pokemon cards and then I can like play Pokemon. And it's like, no, you really can't. Cause like whenever it comes to like making decks and stuff, like you're better off just buying singles online or getting like pre-con decks. Cause buying packs, like you're never going to be able to actually make a deck from buying packs. Like that's just not really the efficient way to do it.
No, not at all. And that's really, if any trading card game, you're going to be
I
better
know. I
off
bought
buying
all
singles.
these. yeah, I bought all these packs for, I mean, I guess not all these. I probably bought like a dozen, maybe like 12 to 20 packs for the One Piece card game, and then I've got like 5 starter decks now.
Yeah.
So
And if you're just
it's
playing
like,
casually, that's the way to do it.
yeah, so that's fine. I'm probably not going to really invest too much more in that, but like you go to Target and it's like impossible to find One Piece cards. They've
Yeah.
got some Pokemon cards, but they're probably like older run sets or something, just the ones that aren't that popular. But a bunch of sold out Pokemon card slots. And then
No
there's
magic.
always like a couple of like Hunter and Dragon Ball Z decks for some card game that I don't even know, and then a bunch of Lorcana. Like nobody's ever buying the Lorcana at Target.
Which is so funny because it was such a big popular thing when it came out.
Yeah.
You couldn't find anywhere, and it hit exactly. I mean, I haven't looked at numbers of what people are actively playing right now and what's number 1, 2, and 3. I would imagine it's still Magic, or no, I think it's Yu-Gi-Oh first, if I recall, but it might be Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon in that order. And then Lorcana was trying to jump into that big 3, and we talked about it, right? Like it's more than likely going to phase out at some point. How much can you do with Disney characters? There's only so much you can do. And Pokemon, you kind of get the feeling it's the same thing, right? But I guess Pokemon, it makes sense. There was the trading cards, there was the video games tied to it. You were actively battling with cards years ago. Like there's a
Oh,
history behind Pokemon. Whereas, you know, Lorcana, I mean, come on, I'm gonna throw out my like level 2 Jafar or something to take whatever ink. I don't even remember what the process is. Like
no.
it's yeah, it just didn't seem like it was gonna stick. And I think that's kind of leaning towards the area, kind of like Flesh and Blood and other card games that have come before it. So
And then
but I think with Target, the other thing you see is a lot of sports wax, like bad sports wax on top of that, just kind of sitting there. And then their Pokemon cards are typically in their toy aisle now, I've noticed.
yeah.
So, but it's like what
Uh
you said, just stuff that it's older sets that maybe weren't as popular, don't have any good chase cards, and nobody wants to buy them.
yeah. And then the other thing with Pokemon is you've got TCG Pocket, which
Yeah,
you and I are both still like pretty into. Like I rip both my packs every day on both my
same.
accounts,
Hmm.
and like I'm excited for the new set to come out at the end of the month.
Yeah,
Trading's going to come out. Trading is ending up to be not as great, but
it's
not as
limited.
limited.
It's limited
It's any
to one
diamond and up to
star.
1 star.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you
one
have to
star and
trade
less.
rarity for rarity. I still haven't seen a confirmation on exactly how many you need though.
Well, it's not a matter of how many you need, it's a matter of Stardust. The Stardust stuff, so that's how you're gonna be able to trade. So the more Stardust you collect, you can utilize that for trading. Now, what you're saying as far as, like, how much you need, nobody really knows, like, how much you need to be able to make a trade. So, like, 1 star cards might be, like, I don't know, what, 200 Stardust or something, for example, and then maybe your 1 diamond card is, like, 20 Stardust, so that's something that we'll have to figure out a later time when it's available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to use that, but I don't know. I guess depending on what's more expensive or cheaper, because like I think you're right. I think I'm gonna have to just wind up crafting the last cards that I need from the other set because I'm never gonna get enough to be able to afford like a better card. And I got like, oh my god, I'm so pissed. Like I'm still trying to pull a freaking magneton.
Just
I pulled
craft it.
two, I pulled 2 full art Pikachus. Not
Nice.
like the EX one, but
Yeah, the
like
nice one. Yeah. I know what
the
you're talking
like
about.
full art ones. I've got 3 of that one now. And
Oh,
it's like
so
when you see the odds of how many other cards you could possibly pull and how many other full art cards there are, it's like, how have I gotten this same one 3 times? Like you're definitely trolling me with this. Like this is not real luck. This is you engineering to fuck me.
yeah, like the 7 or 8 Vaporeons I have from the Mystical Island set. Same shit there. It took me forever to get a damn Mew, and I was just like, I'm not even gonna wait on the Gyarados. I had 500 pack points. I just said, screw it, EX Gyarados. I finished the set. I'm good to go. And then
That
with
was the
the
last card I needed.
yeah, I just did that, and then I was gonna do the crafting for the Magneton in the Apex set, but they had that electric event, and I happened to pull one in a Wonder Pick.
I saw it one time in like one of the like rare picks, and then
Yeah.
I never saw it. It was the only like I felt like that electric event was going on for a day.
Oh
and it
yeah,
was
it
just
was really
gone.
quick. Yeah. So I happened to pull it there, but I had maybe 600 pack points, so I was able to, do what I need to do there. Now, I will say with that game, I have not been doing battling at all. I'm waiting for that
Yeah,
new set
I
to come
stopped
in.
doing battling for a while, so
Yeah,
because it's
which
like you'll level up eventually. It's not like you're really losing out on those hourglasses.
I just do it for the tickets because you get like 5 tickets if you do like 5 thank yous or whatever. So
Mm.
that's what I started doing. And then I learned apparently there is a way to kind of hack the system in which if you for the wonder picks specifically. So there's like Discord
So the
channels.
wonder picks are already pre-decided, I learned.
They are, but here's the thing. So there are Discord channels where people are rolling new, like using a system to automatically like create new accounts, and they continue to create new accounts, crack open packs, and then get God packs. And then they throw up their friend code for a period of time. You friend that person, and then because their God pack was selected while you're their friends, it comes up on your Wonder Picks, and you could select that God pack, and then you're guaranteed a 1 star
Mhm.
plus. So there's that whole process, but it requires you to unfriend everybody you have. So all you have are these like bot accounts, basically. I am wondering long term though, if Pokemon Company is going to catch on to that and say, okay, well, you have like 30 cards that came from this process, your account's inactive now. So I'm kind of curious how that'll play out long term. But there's ways around like getting premier cards apparently. It
Yeah.
doesn't always work, but I was in one of the Discord channels, just check it out. And there's people like showing screen caps like, oh yeah, thanks, I got this. Oh, thanks, I got this card. And it's just, 20, 30 comments deep of people that do that and are just actively creating new accounts for God packs.
Well,
So
let me know if it works for you.
I stopped doing it because it was not popping up on my Wonder Picks. So
Mhm.
I need to mess with it after that. All right, let's go into your piece of our
Yeah.
discussion today.
So this week we finally got to see the Switch 2. Oh wait, we already saw the Switch 2 cuz it leaked everywhere. Um yeah, it was satisfying but oh so bitter at the same time. Like it really didn't showcase a whole lot to really get me amped up. I think the biggest thing that a lot of people are excited about is it essentially kind of confirmed that both Joy Cons will have like a mouse mode
Which is
and
so dumb.
being I don't know, like it seems like it could be an interesting way to have like a new interface. Like, have you ever played a game with two mice? Like
Hear me
I've
out.
never had more than one mouse plugged into anything, so like
Hear me
that could
out.
be a whole new control scheme.
Hear me out. Yeah. You see that? Bluetooth capability and oh look, I can use a mouse. A handheld mouse that's wireless. That
Yeah, but it's built
ideally,
into the console.
yeah, I
Like
get
you
it.
don't have to buy it as an extra accessory.
Well, I mean,
And
if
it
they had
enables every game to be able to use it without requiring an accessory.
or you could just buy if they had the ability to get like a $10 Logitech wireless mouse, you know?
Yeah, but that's a barrier to entry.
Watch.
That's not how games sell millions of copies. Games don't
Watch.
sell millions of copies by having peripherals that are required to be able to
We're
play them.
I would imagine it makes sense if you're doing something like a Wario game that requires you to move it or cars need to be moved, stuff like that. But at the same time, it's just it's weird. Like, in what setting are you going to do that? Like, are you
It
gonna
could be
if
a
you're
whole new control scheme.
but if you're sitting on your couch, you're gonna pull out this mouse and you're gonna rub it on your lap? Are you gonna have a mat? Like, what are you supposed to do when you're playing in docked mode?
Well,
I
people
understand for like the
play
handheld mode and setting it up with the back end and doing something like that, but it it just seems like a very odd function to have, like mouse mode. Come on, like that to me
I
is
don't
just
know,
stupid.
man. People have been using wireless Bluetooth mice from couches for years.
Yeah,
It's
but
not rocket science.
switching between your
And
whatever
it's going to
mode you're
be
playing in.
dependent on like it's going to be dependent on the game. Like there's certain games, it's like most computer games that require you to use a mouse. Like you have an understanding with the game that you're not going to be playing that game standing up.
Yeah,
Like you're going to be interfacing with that game on its terms. You're not going to be like, well, this is dumb that I can't use a mouse in the air while I'm taking a shower. Like, that's not
I
where you're going to be doing it.
I just think it is a dumb gimmick. Of all the gimmicks
Okay.
Nintendo could have done, the mouse part, yeah.
So
So
we've
there,
got
yeah, go
confirmation
on.
of that, and then we have confirmation of Mario Kart 9, which is just like a breath of fresh air, because I was so convinced that it was just going to launch with like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Plus Super Edition
You know
or
what
something.
when I saw the 24 racing lanes, what I was kind of hoping for?
Hmm.
Mario Kart 99.
Okay, yeah.
Can you, that'd be crazy, dude. That'd be
Yeah,
nuts.
but 24, that's a big upgrade, like having double the amount of racers. The console, I mean, getting like a good solid look at it. The only thing that is really notably missing is that C logo on that extra button. It was just kind of left blank for this presentation, so maybe it's not actually going to be branded with a C. Who knows? We'll find out more in freaking April. Like, that's the other thing, is like they basically told
Yeah,
us absolutely nothing, and
they
then we're
had
like,
to.
yeah, we'll be back in April. Oh, by the way, there's going to be another regular Switch 1 presentation before then. And it's just like, what are you doing, man? Just like move on.
Nintendo is just so backwards on the way that they're doing this. Um,
Yeah.
I the reason they did this is clearly because of leaks. There was a news article that came out recently, and I know we'll get back into kind of what else the Switch 2 revealed here for us, but there was something from like an old PR person from Nintendo that said they are angry at the highest level or highest degree of anger at Nintendo because of all these leaks. And
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, well, if you are sending out like NDAs to companies, right? Multiple companies, and then saying, hey, here's a Switch 2, you can start designing third party hardware and such for the console, covers, whatever it is that needs to happen from that. Wouldn't you just like at some point in time, like before all of that happens, all Nintendo had to do is have a Switch Direct and just say, here, and pull like the Sony move, like, here it is. We're super excited to show you what it looks like. That would have gotten rid of all those leaks a long time ago. You don't need this big 3D presentation that's 2 minutes long of showing everything it's on, or like literally just show it, show the magnetic things pop, the Joy-Cons popping off, put it back on, and that's it. That would have handled 99% of their problems from the get-go. Instead, they've taken this route of trying to be in the utmost secrecy of their console. All these leaks are coming out in an age where if leaks aren't coming out, there's something wrong. And like, what did they expect? Right. And then so, okay, cool. Now we're going to have this like 3D presentation showing everything people already knew and expect there to be a ton of hype. Like,
Yeah.
they could have gotten ahead of us a long time ago. They definitely dropped the ball on it.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where it took a lot of the wind out of the sails. And also, I I think it feels like, I don't know, not as Nintendo as I want it to, in the sense that I would want Nintendo to have like actual people interacting with it. Like, I know we'll get like a more full presentation later on, but it doesn't feel right to just have this like 3D, it's all just rendering and fake. And it's like, we saw it, but like we didn't see an actual one. There wasn't a
Yeah.
person holding it, plugging it into their TV, giving us that experience of somebody interacting with the device and it being a real thing, and still not like, this isn't like a physical reveal still.
There's so many other routes that they could have gone, like I said, well before these leaks. And that's why I brought up like the leak component, because if you're going to be sending the physical console out, right, then at that point you should probably reveal it to avoid the potential of any leaks from happening. And let's just say the leaks came from within Nintendo, off the assembly line or whatever it may be. Well, then you should be able, like, there should be plenty of cameras and policies in place to avoid people taking their cell phones in on that assembly line and potentially sneaking stuff out. So this is like, all those leaks clearly came from a third party outside of Nintendo, I would imagine, that receive some sort of physical copy to be able to show, like, start their process, so that way they could get out the gate as well with like third party peripherals and such. So
Mhm.
very odd process by them in general. Lackluster presentation, but we did see, of course, like the confirmation of that U backing, which should have been done on the first Switch anyways, instead of a little stick to be able to hold the sand, basically. We did see an area that's more than likely going to be a flaw point in the console, and that's that little connector where the Joy Cons plug into the side of a console. I can definitely see that snapping off down the road, and that being a big, point of concern for consumers. So there's, I think it brought more negativity than it did positive for Nintendo on this reveal. Just
I
my
don't know.
just
I
my
I
thought
think
on it.
everybody's just happy to have it out there so that we can all stop speculating.
Yeah, well, there's still going to
I
be
think that's the
speculation.
thing. It's more of a relief than than an exuberance.
Yeah, I mean, there's still going to be speculation now into April.
Yeah,
You're still going to have, you know, okay, well, is it this graphics chip? Is it this one? Is like,
they already
what's
have that
the?
out.
I know, but like that's what I'm saying. Like, is the battery capacity XYZ? Is it going to last for this many hours? There's going
Yeah,
to be
that's
all
true.
these other leaks leading up to that presentation. Even so, you're probably still going to have a
And
presentation
probably
that's
games.
lackluster.
We'll see how tight-lipped they can be about these games that'll be rolling out with it too.
Probably not very tight-lipped, 'cause seeing how everything's gone, or maybe they took this as a lesson and they will be very tight-lipped and we'll know 0 leading up to
Yeah.
that point. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy like you are that it's kind of getting that point. We're almost done with it, and we'll know more soon. The other thing though is they have those like Nintendo experience events.
Yeah.
Um I so here's my theory. I think it's cool, like, that they're doing these experience events for people to, like, in their cities go enjoy it, right? What I feel bad about is the people that are more than likely gonna purchase scalped tickets on the internet, because it's gonna be limited, right? There's only so many people that can go to an
Yeah.
experience event. They're gonna have tickets available. So, they're gonna have free tickets. Those tickets more than likely are gonna be scalped on eBay. And you're gonna literally have people that are gonna fly across the country or to whatever city's closest, spend all that money on that. They're going to be purchasing hotel stay. They're gonna be purchasing a scalp ticket to experience a console that's gonna come out several months later. I'm
Yeah.
estimating based on those experience events, because they go into June with some still TBD. I'm thinking we're gonna see a July release for this console, if not August, September timeframe, because they're gonna have to give some buffer time between those experience events and the actual, console purchase itself or console sale.
Yeah.
So, late summer sounds about right, which is very off from what everybody was thinking. It was initially fall 2024, then spring 2025. Now we're looking at obviously more than likely summer of 2025.
Well, it will be a I don't know. It'll be fine once it's over. I'm excited. Who knows when we'll wind up getting one, but hopefully it is not crazy hard to get a hold of, although I'm sure that that is wishing too much.
No, Nintendo's already stated, I think in the US, that they are going to be producing like so many of these consoles that scalping should not be an issue, apparently. It's going to be so
We can
plentiful
hope.
that you could hope. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see what measures are taken along with that. I'm sure stores will have measures as well. Like with the PS5, there was like a one per person type deal, right? If you went in person. So we'll see. It could be similar to like the PlayStation 30th anniversary. I want to say they required a PlayStation Network account on that. So there's measures that companies are taking into play at this point. Nintendo, I think, did something as well where you could purchase something if you wanted, but you had to have Nintendo Online, right? So maybe there's a pre-order process where Nintendo
Oh, I
Online
think it was
users
for
get.
those like the N64 controllers
Yeah,
and
I
stuff
think it
that
was
hook
that.
up to the Switch. You have to like buy it through like eShop or something.
Yeah, so like there's things that they can do to help mitigate some of that, which will cut down on the need for scalping, or not need for scalping, but people scalping it. And I want to say the figure was 20 million consoles is what they plan to have available for the Switch, which is 5 million more than they had on the Switch One. So Switch Two will
Mhm.
have 20 million. So seems like they're taking the right approach here. But Nintendo, they're going to produce something that people are going to want to buy and scalp at a limited, production rate and such anyways. They At the end of the day, they got to make their money, right? And they're going to make it quick,
Yeah.
and they do that by having a FOMO type experience with their products. So
Overall, I don't know. I like the look of it, I guess. I wish there was more like color to it. I do like the colorful Joy-Cons, and I hope they do have more colorful Joy-Cons that they release in the future.
they will. I like the black look though.
Yeah, a
Like
lot of
just
people
this,
do.
yeah, I really like
It
that.
reminds me of Portal with just these like little bit of like blue and orange circle around the thumbsticks.
Yeah, I really like that look. I one thing I saw was pretty funny is people complaining like, "Oh, it just looks like the Switch 1." And I'm like, "Okay, well, your average consumer is buying an iPhone 15 and then buying an iPhone 16 and
Yeah.
every cell phone that's in the market right now looks exactly the same." Like,
Yeah, unless it's a folding phone, all those slabs are pretty identical,
yeah, it's going to be a folding Switch.
right?
Yeah,
It folds. The Switch fold.
fold mode. All
The
right.
flip flop.
Should we that'll be the next game. 1-2 flip flop.
Yep, all
Should
right.
we move into our game here?
Yeah, so this week we're taking a look at Command and Conquer Red Alert Retaliation for the PlayStation.
All right. So this one was developed by Westwood Studios. It was published by Virgin Interactive. One of those, I think, a rare title in a sense, right? Published by Virgin. It was designed by Adam Isgreen, Michael Leitner, and Eric Yao. It was released in August of 1998. It is an RTS or real-time strategy game. It had reception of an 8 to 9 out of 10. Ryan, let us know what this game was about,
So
other than commanding and conquering.
Yeah, I started off with the regular Command and Conquer Red Alert until John notified me that we were actually supposed to be playing Retaliation. And the setup for the regular Command and Conquer Red Alert, I want to just go over that real quick because I thought that was actually much more interesting. These games all have like live action cutscenes, and it opens with Albert Einstein traveling back in time to kill Adolf Hitler.
That's actually fantastic. I need a comic book for that.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. And then I booted up Retaliation, and it just, I don't know, it's a little bit more unceremonious with its intro, but it does have like a short cutscene talking about these Russian troops bringing this sarin nerve gas into Europe, and you meet your commander who tells you, welcome to Greece, and you're who was it? General Carvel introduces you to your mission and sends you on your way. And in your first mission, you've got to basically stop this transport truck that is refueling. And I was never successful. I lost this mission several times, just getting all my dudes wiped out or just not really understanding the controls. I did play like the first like mission and a half of just the regular Red Alert. So I was just kind of starting to get familiar with the controls. And then I feel like since Retaliation it's like the expansion to regular Red Alert, it starts you off at like already knowing things and having like a higher pace. Like I started off with just like a mine layer and 4 guys and a truck that turns into a base, and I was like, okay, what do I do? Like I'd never even built like a mining or facility myself, so I just kind of like found a playthrough on YouTube and just kind of started trying to copy what they were doing unsuccessfully.
So I'm happy you got to jump into the campaign. I went directly into skirmish because that's what I played a lot of when I was younger, and so I've got quite a bit of experience on this game. I played a lot, probably about middle school is when I played this game a lot. I had a PlayStation 1, just kind of, no, it was before, it was like late elementary, maybe 6th grade that I was playing this. Because it's before the PlayStation 2, obviously. So yeah, I played this with my cousin. He walked me through all the basics when I was younger, and it just kind of stuck over time. So in skirmish, you start off like, so first off, in skirmish, you can decide like how you want to start the game. You can have X amount of computers locked in, start with X amount of dollars, how many troops do you want to have from the very get-go, including your MV2, I think it's an MV2 unit that is allows you to build the base, what tech level you want. So like if your tech level's a 10, then that means that you have to spend more resources to be able to get like that tech, and versus if you start like at a 1, it's less resources from my understanding. So there's a number of things tied to that. And so you can then select like, who do you want? So I started with the Ukrainians. I figured, why not? Color, all that stuff gets built in. You get your MB2 unit, you build your base, and then from there it opens up, okay, what's the next thing? Power plant. All right, cool. What's the next thing on the menu? Or refinery. And so you start to kind of build upon those other items. And so what I remember being the key thing, and it really is a key thing in a lot of RTS games, is get your minerals up and then some of your supporting troops up available quickly. So it was build my ore refinery. Let's go ahead and get my barracks up. Once my barracks are up, get some infantry units to, go ahead and join my existing units that I have. Continue building trucks to be able to transport ore refineries. And then from there, start building other things like my Air Force base, my tanks, all of that good stuff that comes through it. So for me, it was a pretty quick pickup. With this game in particular, I do like the ability of it. In my view, it's a very simplistic control scheme compared to some other RTS games. If you want to select all your units, for example, and Halo's a little better at this in what we experience because you can kind of toggle through the different unit types. This is so early on, you can't do it. So you kind of have to, you can either individually select different units and have them do different tasks, or you can hold down X and then drag like you would a computer mouse, and it is mouse compatible. And then you can go ahead and select all your units and have them do what they need to do. So there is that. Placement, in my opinion, is very quick and easy. It does have a fog of war setting, so I was sending like one unit off all the way through the map to go unveil stuff. Little things like that. So for me, it's a quick pickup. I can understand though, like your frustration when you jumped in, like not exactly knowing what to do if it be a more of an expansion set. But once you kind of get the handle for those general basics, the game actually flows very quickly. You start getting that ore flowing in, and you can start building in Tesla towers and flamethrowers and all this other stuff, barbed wire, walls, other things that are going to prevent the enemy from coming in. And it ends up being a pretty quick and seamless game in my experience. So I can see why it gets to 8 out of 9 or 8 to 9 out of 10 reception. But I can see the frustration that somebody might experience with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those games where once you're familiar with the tech tree and kind of how things play out, it's going to be a little bit easier to, have everything going your way. I do think it kind of does suffer from that classic idea of, hey, I wish I had a mini map so that I could just click on a guy and then click on the mini map and send him just over that direction, or have a little bit more of that free form selectivity or hotkeying to you guys are alt F now, so when I hit alt F, all 5 of you better come here.
Yeah, it
Things
does.
like that are in
Yeah.
later or better computer versions of these types of games.
Yeah, it
for just
definitely
quality of life.
definitely suffers from that quite a bit.
But it's not
Yeah.
bad, and I thought it looked pretty good too, and it sounds great. The music in this game is jamming.
Yeah, it's great music in the background. You can actually flip that. I think there's other tracks that you can use. And visually, for a PS1 game, I mean, I was playing this on HD TV, right? I think whatever that LG that you have in my house, which I'm gonna have to give you when you move at some point.
No, you can keep it.
But it'll force me to get another TV. So we'll see. Yeah, I'll probably keep it for a while. But it looked great on that TV. Like it looked perfectly fine. And you could see all the sprites were very nice and clear. Like there was no issues with it. I was very happy with how it looked, how it sounded, how it controlled. It really brought back some good memories and easy to play, in my opinion. So I'm all for that. Like I like RTS games, and 8 to 9 out of 10. That to me is just right on par with where it should be.
Well, speaking of just right, let's go over some brass tacks here. Complete inbox copy will run you $24.99. That peaked at $27.49 back in September of 2024. Currently, that is up slightly. We've got a loose copy run you $15.47, which peaked at $28 back in March of 2008. Currently, that is trending down. And you can also find the whole remastered collection on Steam for $19.99. So probably, I'd say that's probably your best option there. But if you really do want to play this on the PlayStation 1 and, 25 bucks for a complete box copy, I mean, that might be on like kind of the higher end of being like an impulsive kind of purchase. This is definitely maybe not a first stringer game. I could definitely see $25 probably buying you something maybe a little more exciting, maybe something a little more lasting.
Yeah, I mean, I think 25 bucks is just right, actually. And, let me sell you on it. So this is a double disc case. So it's one of the thicker cases. This particular game has one disc that is Soviets and one disc that is Allies. Mine, for whatever reason, has two manuals in it. I don't know if that's supposed to be a fact or if that,
Is one a
or
Soviet manual and
I
one's a Allied manual?
not that I noticed. I mean, maybe it is. I don't know. I got to double check. But I mean, in a sense, it's almost like two games in one, right? Because of how it's split up. Um, so yeah, I mean, in that case, it's a very thick manual, very great artwork throughout. The case is a nice double disc case. You get two discs with it, and the presentation I think is actually pretty good for that case. Um, I think considering our peak was just last year at 27.49. I don't know what it was 5-10 years ago. Uh, but 25 bucks seems like a pretty good price here. And considering the digital PC version, yeah, 19.99. But if you have a mouse for PlayStation already, what's the difference at that point? I don't know, but you can hotkey and stuff on that version on Steam either.
Yeah,
And
10 years ago it was $14 completed box.
yeah, so I mean, we're talking considering the rate of inflation, if we've only gone up 10 bucks in that period of time, that's not bad in my view. That's actually a pretty good deal for a game.
Okay.
So yeah, I would say just right on this one.
All right, sounds good to me. Well, there you go. We'll go with just right for this one. And next week, what are we taking a look at? Another RTS game.
Yeah, where's the
We've
list?
got Goblin Commander or StarCraft 64.
Well, it's gonna be one of those two games because you got to come over and play. So we'll figure it out. I don't know. We'll surprise people. It's gonna be one of those two games. That's what we'll play. And more than likely, if you follow us on Instagram or really just social in general, I occasionally will take a picture of what we're about to play and I'll post it.
Yeah.
So yeah, or I'll post it afterwards. But I try to do it the day of, if not before. Cool. All right. Well, I am going to double check on here. So we got 324 is our episode this week. It's not 223 or 232 like I tried to do last time. So this has been episode 324 of the Game Deflators podcast. My name's John.
I'm Ryan.
And thanks for listening.